I think I'll call this my Stranded in Colorado podcast. I'm Alex Ansary, and today's date is March 14th, 2019. So, what I wanted to do is provide a brief update on what I'm dealing with, and even for someone listening, the layman, if you will, the laywoman, here's the things that Alex Ansary goes through in order to be free. And so, it does come with a cost, especially when you go it alone. I want to thank those of you that have contributed recently. What I'm having to do right now is wait for the right alternative transportation to present itself that's within budget. The value of the repairs far exceeds the value of that actual car. The transmission is toast, even according to the guy that looked at it briefly. Like it's slow to accelerate. I'll be lucky to make it through the end of the year. And so that is not a good use of resources to pour it all into that car, especially when you're dealing with axle issues and wheel issues. It's not worth it. So, and I've gone through this stranded experience in the mountains many, many times. I'm not camping, I'm living on my own land. And so it's not as isolated as maybe certain camp spots in the mountains, like the mountains that we're looking at right now, which I believe are seen from the Sangredo Cristo mountain range area where this picture was taken. And so I'm living in Colorado, a modern experience, also one in which I've chosen to look away from Facebook. And I've wanted to see more of a real life come about, kind of blossom out of a full time online, full time YouTube type of reality and experience. I mean, it is not easy necessarily to do what I do full time and try to re enter the workforce without any recent work history. YouTube is not exactly something that you put down on an application unless the things that somebody is talking about on YouTube are going to be popular and not scoffed at. It usually works against a guy. But one of the goals that I've had this year is to be able to get out more, go hiking more, go camping, not just go walking for a day, but to go camping. So the idea of having a 4x4, like a Toyota Runner or a Subaru, but really a 4x4 truck that's the right size, really is the thing that seems most up Alex Ansary speed at the moment. Whereas I've been driving a car, of barely a $1,000 value that is not at all in any way, shape, or form suited nor designed for these types of roads in which they actually spray mag chloride onto the road. I've even heard about some potential health risks involving that, but it's not a good use of resources to keep pouring money into cars that are of low quality that are not even designed for rough terrain. But it says something about the amount of years that I've gotten by with that little car. 2 years now. I believe 2 years, maybe less. I believe pretty close to 2 years. Not quite 2 years. And I just recently paid for the insurance. And so what I'm looking at now is another situation to where I have had to reactivate my Facebook page. Looking around, looking at Craigslist, and hoping for the best and letting you know what I'm focused on. And then I'm kind of waiting, not only for like a ride to town for propane, because I'll be out of cooking fuel in about, well, I don't know exactly when, but I'm down to the last week's worth. And that means no heating, only, only fuel for cooking. There's not enough for both, a little heat here and there. But we are finally coming out of a really long winter. I mean, this has been a 5 month winter, and a lot of winters are. It could snow again, but it seems like on average we have a 5 month winter. And some solar cycles, some years, are going to bring more snow and less snow depending on certain factors. There's other people that talk about seeing more geoengineering. And at least I do live in a part of North America where there are still some blue skies left. To those people that say they never see blue skies ever again, that must really, really suck. There's blue skies here right now. The issue is the dark ages are within, they're internal. Okay, it's not so much about the chemtrails, but you can even go somewhere absolutely beautiful with mountains and find yourself absolutely alone and isolated because you're an outsider. So pray for me. Feel free to send me some positive energy. I am not in a state of mind right now to be talking about worldly things. There's a part of this lifestyle to where a guy like me needs to get off the hill. I need an extra 15 feet of oxygen. I'm at 8,000 feet. I am from sea level. There's certain things, when I'm not able to smoke anything at all for periods of time, it's too raw of an experience. It's raw, folks. It's raw. And I'm living that raw experience right now. I have maybe a couple gallons of water. And so I want to appreciate you for being there. And I want to find some balance here to where, you know, without me going off, but that you understand that the way that I live and where I live is very, very different. And it was necessary in order for me to survive. And past videos talk about my life story. I've talked about Portland already and how that was difficult for me to even feel accepted in Portland. Even though they say keep Portland weird, and I'm considered a weirdo, you know, weird on a different level, apparently. And so I want to stay positive and hopeful because there are times in which it seems like the energies are working against us. We can even maybe ask someone for a little bit of help, mechanical, and either we may not get that help, it may not be quality help. There may be some issue with it. I don't need to go on and on and on, right? But there are risks, obviously, that people take when they have off grid mechanics look at their car. They may just be giving them money for something that's not actually going to be fixed. And this is the nightmare scenario that a guy like me can accidentally walk in. And it's easy for people to talk down to me like I'm an idiot about car things. But when all the smoke clears and all is said and done, how many trips were actually needed to go get parts, for example? And without going on and on, I did have to return some parts that were ordered due to some mistakes that were made. And also, like, I'm not a person that makes the best decisions when I want to get something moved forward. Just a matter of like, what can we do to move it forward? Well, time and the universe, things don't necessarily work on our schedule. Sometimes we're grounded for a reason. And now I'm waking up to the fact that that car may be on its way out. The transmission alone, right? There are issues with it. So before I start just like shelling out everything that I have, maybe there's something better. Knowing that there are other 4x4s that I have seen out there, I've been warned against the Jeep Cherokees. That's right. But I'm not ashamed to, or afraid, or hesitant to share what a nice little goal would be. So maybe some of you might even think about it. But I need to write it down. I need to be able to access certain resources that I need. I need to be able to go get propane and food. But it would be great to stumble upon a great vehicle in the coming days. It could be on Craigslist. It could be somewhere else. Something under 1,500 or under 2,000 that doesn't need work. That's ready to go. That's a 4x4. And then it would be great within a reasonable amount of time to be able to get out and about in the state of Colorado. A friend's going to be visiting in a couple of weeks, well, 6 weeks. So that's a fair amount of time for help with rides. But a guy like me is able to show the world I am one of the few individuals that speaks about modern events that actually lives this isolated and to the point where sometimes I'm stranded without any help whatsoever. I think my friend recommended I call a rental, and I'm pretty sure that that'd be like a $200 or $300 thing for them to go this far remotely to bring me a vehicle so that I can go to town. No bueno, no bueno at all. So the first thing that has to be breached, the first thing that has to move forward is my ability to access a simple ride into town, someone that'll accept $20 from me cash in order to be able to get into town and get a few weeks to a few months worth of supplies. The snow has melted a little bit, so I'm able to access the other propane bottles so I can be filling more than one. Extra food, extra water, grab an extra water container, and I'm basically set for a extended period of time. But it's not easy to live this way. It's not easy to live this way at all. If you would like to donate to what I'm starting, this fund for a vehicle that I'll be getting this year, not next year, that will assist me in camping, this would be a great time to do that, or in the coming days. I want to thank Natasha as well. I mentioned some other names earlier in the week. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Lee. And thank you, so many others. And even if you're only able to donate $10 or $20, that's all going towards the greater pool of resources that's going to assist me in getting transportation again. But I got to hang on in the meantime. I think I need to take some extra time for some sun exposure. I think I need to step back from commenting on some super serious topics for at least a couple of days till this blows over. I want to try to bring in as much positive energy as possible without unnecessary confusions or entanglements. So I want to thank you for being there. I want to thank you for your prayers. And I will talk to you next time.